So now, how does the travel, the psychedelics, your childhood, your schooling, how did all of that play a role in now what you really is your passion is art? You're doing a lot of art, and you're an amazing artist. I've seen your work;
Thank
it's
you.
so good. By the way, she has a coloring book that is awesome. You can get it on Amazon. And I actually, right when you told me that day, I ordered it on Amazon,
Thank you so
but it's
much.
really, really awesome. I mean, you did, but your art that you do, how would you describe it?
Um,
And how did it play a role? I mean, how did all those other things kind of influence you in your art?
so I think tracing back to when I was a kid, I think art is was really something that I know I have an affinity for ever since I was a kid. I mean, I drew. My mom's a seamstress, and
Okay.
so when she would be sewing, like I would just like stitch together like paper, like I just really like to be creative. But over time, at like school, like needing to be like take school serious and becoming doctor, like and throughout my 20s, like all, I mean, I started not having time to do art, right?
Right.
And then at the end of 2020, that was the first year that I was officially licensed to practice. So it
Okay.
was my first year, and as we all know, we went through COVID that year, and I was living in New York. I was so burnt out, and at the end of the year, I also like experienced one of the greatest like loss in my life, and so just to process my grief and to get it myself, pick myself back up, I just turned into painting again after really stopped
And
after
what
10
happened,
years.
if you don't mind me asking, what happened? What was your greatest loss?
So, as I mentioned before, I was never really close to any of my family members, and I the first time I really experienced love was when I had my dog, and I lost my first dog, and I got my second dog, and then at the end of 2020, my second dog passed away after only 3 years, and he was really special to me because I got him right before I started grad school. So we went through 2 years of grad school at NYU together. He graduated with me. He was in every single one of my programs. He actually we started assisted animal therapy groups together and implementing them in different agencies. So he was, more than a dog. Like he was my travel buddy. He was my, my coworker. And so I lost him due to really terrible incident that a rescue dog was kind of like out of control and like bit him. And
Wow.
so it was really, really a traumatic experience to like not only that happened, but like happened in that way. And yeah, so I was I really just isolated myself. I couldn't tell my parents about it. Like I couldn't talk about it for months, and the only place that I can feel like I'm connecting back to myself is when I'm painting.
Wow.
So I started like painting a lot, and like through painting, I kind of went through this introspective and self-reflection journey, because we go through life so fast day to day, whether we're with people or doing things or running errands or checking our phones. We don't really give us enough space to really just be quiet, right? Unless you really practice meditation for a long time. But like there's something about like there's an action of like creating and be like so into the flow of that also allows you to see your life in a broader sense. So in art, I do mainly do abstract art.
Okay, yeah.
I love working with colors. I love working with different mediums. It's mainly abstract, and I'll show you some of my new pieces later.
Yeah.
But in abstract art, there's a concept called distance self-talk. So in psychologically, what it does is like when you look at an abstract painting, because it's not clear what it is, everyone who sees a painting would have their own interpretation of it. I mean, like colors usually like kind of dictates the mood, but like personal experiences also influences what you see. So, they say, research says if you kind of like really drawn to abstract art, trains our mind to do that, to be able to like read stories or create or reframe things and ideas in a way that you might never seen before. And yeah, and ever since then, like ever since knowing that, I just wanted to like create even more art and like inspire people who haven't painted since they were 5 to even create art. That's why I created that coloring book. That coloring book also has like affirmations that really helps us to really like meditate. So yeah.
Is there a reason why when I look at abstract art, or even I could even be in a bathroom taking a shower, and I will look at the marble because that's abstract,
yes.
right? And I will look at that and I always see faces, you know? So I don't know why. I don't know if there's something, you know, in my weird about my brain, or I see faces all the time.
Person.
Is that what it is? Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, I love people. I mean, I love people. I just always, it's crazy how I can look at stuff and this is just really funny. I mean, in my last house, on the ceiling, it was kind of like a textured ceiling a little bit. And I could see a leprechaun. I could see a little leprechaun with like a hat, you know, like a little leprechaun hat in the ceiling, like, and I saw it.
And once you see it, you always see it.
And once I saw it, I was like, every night. I mean, I could look up there, and I'm like, that's my lucky leprechaun up there, you know. So it's just weird how I could just. So I love abstract.
Amazing.
I love abstract art. I love your art because I think that again, you could have your own interpretation of whatever that is, as long as you know. I mean, even here, there's so much art in the halls and things like that. There's so many beautiful pieces of art, and I think that art is so important. I think a lot of people don't take the time to really appreciate art. Now, I probably appreciate it a little bit more because I'm a cartoonist. So I draw cartoons. I was going to become a cartoonist, actually. There was a piece of my life right out of high school, actually. Tried to start my own comic strip, and I tried to get syndicated. So cool. But back then, we didn't have YouTube back then, so there was nobody to teach you. You know, the stuff, everything, you can learn everything now. Now it's YouTube University, right? But back then, I just had to read books, and I didn't know anybody in the industry. I had no connections, so I sent out all of my comic strips to like 20 or 30 different syndicates, and of course, I got turned down on all of them. But I didn't have that mental fortitude that I learned later on in life to be persistent and to look at failure as no big deal, just keep moving forward. And so I quit, and then I went back to college, and then I just played baseball. That was my other love, was baseball and art. But I appreciate what you do, and I appreciate artists because I know how hard it is. It's not easy to do. I mean, it takes a lot of emotion. It takes a lot of talent, especially if you're dealing with realism. I actually really enjoy a lot of realism too, because I really can appreciate, holy shit, man, to be able to make an eye look like an
skills,
eye. That's skills, big time, right? And so, but as far as like, so what's the next step for you in your artistic journey? I mean, do you want to have
before we go there, I want to know, when was the last time that you drew a comic strip?
Well, drew a comic strip like forever. Draw a cartoon, you know, probably a couple weeks ago maybe. Because I doodle a lot. I'm a total doodler. And and I love my iPad because I can draw, and I have the pen and everything, so I can draw. And the apps now are so good that I can literally sit there and draw anything I want with any type of you know, pencil, pen, marker, whatever type of, you know, thing that I want to do. So it's nice for me. So.
Yeah, that's so nice. You need to do that more. Maybe we can collaborate and do.
Well, maybe, you know, who knows?
Yeah.
So what's the next step? Like, what do you want to like be in art galleries? Is that kind of your next step for you? You want to start stepping up your game on that?
Yeah. So I am. So review. I'm actually going to have my art display at Art Basel Miami this year, in the first week of December, and I'm also preparing for the Beverly Hills Art Show for next spring.
Okay.
So that's for art. yeah, like that's really for art. I mean, I think art is just something I really enjoy doing. You know, there's something that you do, like you don't need to get paid for it, like you just do it for fun because it makes you feel so good. Art is that for me, so it's I want to play the long game with that. But you know, most importantly, so I do also like host like paint nights like for friends, whenever, every season, whenever I can. You know, my biggest hope is like I can continue to do art and recruit all my friends to just create whatever
Yeah,
it is.
yeah.
It doesn't have to be painting, and then we just and keep on inspiring people to tap back into that part that really lights their passion and just doing what they love. That's my art. And then on my therapy side, I have taken a break of doing like one-on-ones and or small group coaching this season, is I am launching digital courses
Okay, very
online.
cool.
So it will be coming later on this fall, winter. And our first course is, as you know, I was a mindset coach for the young women in beauty pageants in the USA system. And I wanted to, my first course is it's really geared towards creating a course that guides young women on a self-discovery journey of really discovering what it is that matters to them, finding out who they are, and you know, practicing really like shape their life in the way that serve their highest,
Right.
and create a community to maintain that.
If you like this video and you want to watch another one, click right here. If you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.